Welcome to MeMe's Kitchen. Well, it's a typical spring day. And y'all, and I have got, I guess what they used to call hay fever, allergy, whatever you want to call it. So, I am fighting sneezing and all that kind of stuff, but we're going to try to hold it together here for this video this afternoon. Last week, we made fluffy stuff. And oh my goodness, y'all, I remember fluffy stuff from way back. And so, obviously, a lot of you do too, and it kind of sparked your memory of having fluffy stuff at the table. And it was real funny, all the different names that people called it. They called it green stuff, they called it fluffy, they called it stuff. It was just really very amusing to read all the comments. And oh my goodness, the different ingredients that people add: blueberries, strawberries, cottage cheese, oranges. I mean, the list goes on and on. So I thoroughly enjoyed reading what you make that salad. And so that's just one of those creative salads that you can just go wild with, you know, whatever the season of the year and whatever the fruit is right then, you can add to it. Today we are going to make country style steak. If you have my cookbook, Sunday Lunch at MeMe's, it is on page 47. So, country steak and gravy. Y'all, this is a favorite of just about everybody in the world, to tell you the truth. Because no matter when you bring it up or what you talk about, you will, people will just love steak and gravy. I had a young girl at church last night who was telling me that she was enjoying my cookbook, and I said, well, tomorrow night now, we're going to make country style steak. And her eyes just lit up, and she called the husband, come in, guess what we're making tomorrow night? She said, that's his favorite. And I said, oh, great. And so anyway, she said that she had learned a lot from reading the recipes and watching the videos. So y'all, that's what it's all about. Now, today, we're going to make this from scratch. So I've got my pan here. I'm going to turn my eye on 7. We don't want to cook this real high. All right, and we're going to pour our vegetable oil in here. And you just really want enough to, we're not going to deep fry this, so you just want enough to more than cover the bottom of the pan. Now, when you buy your cube steak, y'all, that is almost impossible to get exactly what you want. Because some places they cube it too thin and then you get it and it's so thin you can't hardly work with it. I have found that Walmart actually does theirs the best. And so, so that's usually where I buy mine. I like mine about the size of the palm of my hand, because you don't want your pieces too big, because people can always get 2 pieces, but a lot of people just want a small piece. And so this eliminates that. So the first thing we're going to do, now we're going to let this this oil get hot here. And I've already started my steak. I've cut it, I've washed it and dried it, and then I've cut it. See the size of that? So that is a good size to have. This is self-rising flour in here. That's what I use. And I have already salted this steak and getting it ready to get it coated. So we're going to let this oil get hot and we'll be right back. Okay, I think our oil is ready, but I want to start our oven here so it can preheat. We're going to cook this on 325, so we'll get that started. Now, the way you can tell your oil is ready is just drop a little bit of flour in it. And you see how it sizzles? Well, that means it's ready. So, just dredge this through your self-rising flour. Drop it right there in the oil. Y'all, this is so good and it's so easy. Of course, everything I cook, I try to make it easy. People don't have a lot of time just to spend in the kitchen anymore. Okay. Get as much in there as we can. Now, I do want you to remember one thing. You are not cooking this steak to get it done. You are cooking it to get it browned. And so you don't have to worry whether or not it gets done. And when we put it in that casserole dish over there, if there is a little bit of blood in the pan, it's okay. Because we are just really browning this steak because it's going to cook in the oven, because it's going to cook for 2 hours. And so you don't have to worry about it getting done. So let's watch this right here. So it's not going to take it long. While those are cooking just a little bit, I'll just show you. I've just salted these, not real salty because our gravy is going to be pretty rich. So we'll just salt these and lay them here in the bowl. And then we'll leave that and get it ready for the next round. Okay, it's been about 2.5 minutes, so it doesn't take a real long time for this to brown. So I just want you to see, that's kind of what we're looking for. We just want it brown to get it ready to put in the casserole dish. So we'll turn these over. Okay, we'll leave those and let them cook just about the same length of time, about 2.5 minutes, and we're going to put them in our casserole dish. Okay, it's been about 2.5 minutes. So now we're going to take this up, and you just kind of stack it in your casserole dish. I like to not put it totally on top of each other, but just stack it so that we can get it all in here. Okay, and then I'm going to put another pan in, but you've already seen me do that, so I don't need to waste your time with that, so we'll get another pan going. Okay, we're getting this ready now to start our second pan. See, we've used the same grease. We're not going to change our oil, so we just going to leave that in there. That'll be a piece for a man right there. Okay, we're going to add our second layer here. Okay, now, I want you to look at this. I'm going to add just a little bit of oil to that because I've got another whole pan to cook, and I mean a little bit. So we'll let that get good and hot before we start putting our next round of steak in there. Okay, we're going to get these in there. Now, y'all, in the recipe book, it says 8 to 10 pieces. Now, this is one of those recipes you can cook as little or as much as you want, according to what you need for your family. Y'all know I'm always feeding a bunch of people. Now, I will tell you one thing. One of my granddaughters has company here from Tennessee. So, this steak tonight is going to her house. So it's not even staying here. I'm doing this to help her with her meals with her company. And she has one child, and the couple that's visiting her has 3 little children. So they don't have a whole lot of time to do a whole lot of cooking, and they want to visit with one another. So I said, I will help you with your food. So y'all know how I love to cook and how I love to do that kind of thing. So here we go. We're going to get this scrape here. Okay, we're going to put these last couple of pieces in here. Ah, perfect. Okay, now we're going to make our gravy. So this is, let's take our spatula here. Whoa. Now, I'm going to put the onions in here. Now, y'all, for those who haven't watched me before, if you have somebody that does not like onions, grate the onions as you put them in there. But we're okay today, so I'm just using, that was a medium onion I had cut up already. And so we'll get it in there and get it started. Okay, now this is the same oil, and y'all, that's all the little crunchy pieces from the steak, and that's really what will make this gravy so good. So we're going to start putting our flour in here, and this is, remember, this is self-rising flour, so that's probably about a tablespoon and a half. So far, I think we've put about 3 tablespoons of flour in here. So you want enough flour in there to absorb most of that oil, because you don't want your steak, you don't want your gravy too greasy. So we're going to get this. And we're just going to kind of let it cook a little bit and brown, because we want our gravy nice and brown. Okay, now we're going to start adding our water to it. So that was 2 cups of water. Let's see how much it takes here. We just stir it and let it just get thick. Keep adding water. If you get it too thin, you can always put a little bit more flour in it. So, but you want your gravy thin enough to put on the steak, because it gets a little thin while it's cooking. So you don't want that gravy too thick, because then it will, it just won't cook good. So we're going to add some more water. That was 2 cups. And I'm guessing we used probably about 6 to 7 tablespoons of self-rising flour. Okay, let's add this. The reason I use this spatula here is to be sure I get all my drippings off the bottom of my pan, because that's really what tastes so good in that gravy. I mean, in the steak. Okay, it's getting there. We'll let that cook a minute, because as that water heats back up, that gravy will get thicker. So we'll just watch it here for a minute, and we'll be right back. Okay, so that you don't have lumps in this, because that flour will lump up. Just use your whisk and stir around. But now see, that is still just a little bit too thick. So I'm going to add just a little bit more water in there. Now, if you'll notice, I did not put salt in this. And the reason why is I am going to add a seasoning to it. And y'all, this is called beef base. I buy it at Sam's, but I think they also have it at Walmart. And it's kind of like a paste. You'll see how that is. So I'm going to put that's probably a good tablespoon in there. Now it will dissolve in that gravy. And see, that's going to help it to be brown also. So we're going to let that totally dissolve. And then we're going to taste it and see if it's salty enough, if it has enough flavoring, because the flavoring is really what makes this dish. So we'll let this cook just a minute. See how nice and brown that is? And now see, we don't have any lumps. That's, of course, onions that you're seeing there. So, okay. Normally, I would take this and just pour it in there. But y'all, I don't want a disaster today since we're on video. So we're just going to put this in with our dipper. And you want your gravy to cover your steak.
Tell them about the salt.
And I did add just a little bit of salt because when I tasted it, it just wasn't salty enough. And it's got to have a little bit of salt for it to have just a good flavor. So, woo-wee. Oh, y'all. Okay. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to cover this with tinfoil. And while we're over here, let me show you one quick thing. If you want an easy way to cook rice in your oven. This is 2.5 cups of rice, 5 cups of water, 1 stick of butter, and salt. And you just mix that together. I did melt my butter and put in there. Stir it up, put your top on it, put it in the oven on 350 for 1 hour. And look at the beautiful rice. So, that goes perfect with this. Of course, a lot of people like mashed potatoes, and so that's okay too. But we really like rice. That's kind of our little southern thing, y'all. Okay, we're going to stick this in our oven. All right, I'm going to set my timer on 2 hours. Now, it really cooks better if you cook it on 325 for 2 hours. If you're in a hurry, you can cook it on 350 for like about an hour and say 20 minutes, and it'll be okay. But I like to slow cook mine. So we will be back in a little while and you will see the end results. Okay. All right, the magic hour is here. And we are going to take this out of our oven. Put it right over here. Oh my goodness, I wish we had a smeller on this video. Oh, look at that. Y'all, that is going to be so good. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of this up so y'all can just see how it cooked. Now, let me show you how tender this is. Look at that. Oh, my goodness. All right, Kayleen is videoing me today. Kayleen, you want to taste it? All right, it's good and hot. But now, the only thing is, she's got to turn the phone around so y'all can see her taste it.
It's good.
Is it good?
Great.
Okay. So, y'all, this goes wonderful over rice or over mashed potatoes, whichever you prefer. Of course, we like rice here in this house and kind of in the South, really, to tell you the truth. And so this goes well with all kinds of side dishes. A good thing is the little jour peas. Oh, they go wonderful with that. And y'all, just from last week, fluffy stuff would be good with this too. And since it's St. Patrick's Day this week, you could make the green fluffy stuff with the lime jello. And so it just makes for a wonderful meal. And so just use your imagination and fix you up a good meal tonight for your family. You saw how easy it was because you just stick it in the oven and then it cooks and does its thing. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. Oh, y'all, we're so excited because spring is coming on. I know it's still cool, but that's okay. And we are just waiting for the spring weather just to come around because everything's beginning to pop out of the ground and it's beginning to look like spring. So we know that it's not far away. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week, and everybody shine for Jesus.